Hey guys, welcome to the Keyless Works. I'm Steve, and today we're talking about a bit of a unusual candidate for a watch review. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about, so I snagged on a bit of a sale when it was quite cheap, a Filippo Loreti watch. I'm actually wearing it right now. This is the Venice moon phase watch, and this watch gets a ton of flack online. They've been called anything from scammers to Alibaba watches masquerading as real watches. They get a lot of negative criticism about them, and whether or not that's justified, I don't know. I can only talk about my own personal experience with them. So what I wanted to do was, I guess, dive right in and take a look at the watch first of all, and then maybe talk about some of the issues surrounding the brand and what I think about them. I actually reached out to Filippo Loreti for some comments on this, and happily they got back to me on this, so I'm going to address some of those issues too. But let's take a look at the watch first. So when you pick this up online, they send you a nice email and everything like that, and it didn't take overly long to ship. They ship out of this one shipped out of somewhere in the United States. Unfortunately, shipping to Canada via DHL, which is the worst carrier in North America. I have no idea how they stay in business, but I digress. So it comes in a pretty standard kind of black box with the Filippo Loreti markings on it. The box actually was a bit of an issue for me, and I'll just tell you why. It looks fine on the outside, and when you open it, it's kind of got like the felt interior, but when I reached in to take out the watch, immediately the cardboard kind of popped off and showed it to be a very kind of poorly assembled cardboard box. So I mean, you don't buy a watch for the box it comes in. I mean, a lot of watches come in very simple boxes, and I mean it's not the be all and end all. It's more of like an attention to detail thing, if they kind of wanted to improve that, and I think they have on their next series of watches, the Ascari, but on this specific one, the box wasn't in great shape. You do get a couple of things inside the box when you pick this up. The first thing they give you is this. If I can shake it out here, you get this certificate of authenticity that tells you, you own an authentic product, and this is important for another reason that I'll actually get into later on about the I guess the origin of the watches. They make no they don't hide the fact that they produce these in China. And that's not a problem in and of itself, but we'll get into some issues when we talk about the brand. But anyways, they give you an authenticity certificate for the watch you bought, as well as instructions on how to use it. It's fairly straightforward. It uses a very low-priced Miyota type Miyota movement, moon phase movement, but very easy to use. And you also get a nice little note here from the founders thanking you for purchasing the product, included with it. So that's the box. Let's take a look at some video I shot earlier of the watch. I want to start by saying I actually really like the look of this watch, with the Dauphine hands and that rose gold PVD on it, along with a very attractive, comfortable, and supple Italian leather strap. The watch feels a lot better made than probably its underlying cost. I mean, it's got they say it's sapphire crystal, but I'm pretty sure it's like a sapphire coated mineral crystal. But again, it just feels very well put together for a watch as likely as cheap in its construction as it is. It's got these gorgeous concentric rings on the subdial. The moon face looks great. The hands have that kind of offset polishing on them to make them shine. And when you flip it over to the case back, you actually see this, the Piazza San Marco or the Basilica San Marco in Venice, etched into the back of the watch, along with the stamping and markings indicating the genuineness of the leather on the quick release straps. And again, it's very, very comfortable. I really like it. It doesn't feel like it's there. It's a very light watch, and again, it very easy to use, very easy to set. It's got this little side button, pusher button on here to let you skip the months quickly, but it sets very, very easily. It uses a Miyota P600 movement, so it's never going to break, basically. And again, just tapping on it here, it does feel, fairly well put together. So I really like this watch. I mean, I'm wearing it more and more, and it just fits with a lot of different things I wear. I mean, it presents a very attractive face. It's very simple. It's very clean. It works with things that are dressy and things that are not. So yeah, I actually really like this watch. I mean, but therein lies the issue, right? Do you buy a watch because someone says, it has horological significance, or it's somehow of a value? I mean, I paid $99 for this watch. My attraction to it was the moon phase. My father had a moon phase watch that he got from an occult bookstore in Winnipeg when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and he wore it for years. It originally had a leather strap, and then he moved it onto an expanding bracelet. But it was that nostalgia that kind of drew it to me, the stars and the moon. I mean, it's very actually hard if you look to find a budget moon phase watch. There are some. Orient has a gorgeous sun and moon watch, but it's a sun and moon. It's not a moon phase. I don't know if I could find another moon phase watch for $99. Timex doesn't make one. Orient's is over $300 Canadian, and it's not a moon phase watch. I'm not sure if Seiko has one in their lineup, but it's not one you see every day. But it really has this classic, like, old school design to it that I really like. I mean, ostensibly, the Lithuanian brothers who were inspired by Italy and make their watches in China, which is part of the reason why people are, again, very critical of this brand. But I guess Danielis Jakutis, who they say is their lead designer, did study in Italy or spend some time in there. Part of his career was around Italy. But if you take a look at the Venice moon phase, you can kind of see the inspiration. If we take a look quickly at the ceiling of the Basilica San Marco, the St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, you kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's pop to a picture quickly. So you can see the windows probably depicting the apostles, and the kind of concentric ring style that if we flip to the watch, you can see that reflected in the face of the watch too, which is actually just really cool. So yeah, you can kind of see the influences here that the designer took from Italy. Now, I don't want to hide anything here. They have a lot of criticism, and one of the main ones around them is essentially the accusation against Filippo Loreti is that a couple of bros from Lithuania found a watchmaker in China, in Shenzhen, and found one of their stock off-the-shelf designs, put their label on it, and sold it at huge markup and inflated prices. So I just wanted to address that right away. So I actually reached out to Filippo Loreti, and they got back to me. And in no uncertain terms, they stand by the design of their watches, and they are the designers. The design, that the Venice moon phase design, is theirs. They created it, and they are currently seeking legal action with the Chinese government against the, I guess, a lot of the knockoff manufacturers, which aren't producing the watches with the same level of quality. I mean, I say quality, but it does have some decent components in it. The strap is very nice. The case is very well built. The sapphire crystal, or sapphire coated crystal, again, is very clear. It's very, very well applied. The attention to detail is there. The polishing and the indices, the split polishing of the Dauphine style hands, so you can kind of get that reflection effect and that matte reflect on the hand. It's all there, and I have some really nice watches too, and a Rolex this is not, absolutely, full stop. But again, it is a well-made watch, and $99 I don't feel it's overpriced. It's not like a Daniel Wellington, which is 2 times that price, or something like an MVMT, how you call it, movement. So this does, Filippo Loreti does kind of fall into that fashion line of watches. It is a fashion watch. It's not a Rolex. They don't have like the horological history behind them of hundreds of years, or of over 100 years, like say a Timex or a Seiko. But they're a new watch company, and it takes time to develop that kind of bench strength. Right now, they're focusing on the design of the watches, making a watch that look good, and they are using, yes, cheaper but definitely reliable Miyota quartz movements. You can also get, I think they use Miyota automatics as well in some of the limited editions of this watch. So again, I think a lot of criticism they get is due to the fact that they purport to be a luxury watch. Again, I'll agree with the criticism there. This is not a luxury watch, but that does not mean it is not a luxurious watch. it is kind of funny, given that I have watches that I consider, to have some horological, backing, like my Orient, Ray. Orient's been making watches for 50 years. They're considered some of the best, most reliable, and entry-level automatic watches. I have my Seiko 5 that I love, the Flieger, and a few other ones too. I have my Swiss-made Marathon, my Navigator, and I love that watch too. And I love them all for different reasons. And I like this watch, honestly, for the way it looks. It is a very timeless style. The moon phase, it's very classic. It works well dressy, it works well casually, and it's comfortable, and it does feel fairly well made. I mean, again, not a luxury watch. They claim to be disrupting an industry. No, they are disrupting nothing. But they made a nice watch, and they continue to make nice watches. And that's not to say in the future that once they get a little bit of capital behind them and some name for themselves, they don't start making more mechanical watches with maybe some more premium movements. I've noticed in some of them they go into Seiko chronograph movements, and they've even started to go into the Ronda quartz movements in some of their newer watches as well. So who's to start saying to say they won't eventually go to using ETA movements or something like that? So I mean, I guess there's a jealousy aspect in it, but they absolutely they stand by they stand by the watch. They are suing these knockoff makers on Alibaba and AliExpress that make these watches. I mean, I bought an AliExpress watch once just for shits and giggles, and I think I paid like $1 for it, and it is absolute garbage. It is crap, and it feels like crap. Like, you can tell, like, there was no attention to detail whatsoever. It came in a bag. The bracelet was horrible. I mean, this isn't that. I mean, yes, it's made in China, but other watch companies make watches in the Far East as well. Timex, which is one of my favorite watch brands, it has some great horological history to it, makes their watches in the Philippines. So the I'm interested to see where they go with this. I mean, I really like the watch, and again, maybe that's all it comes down to, is if you like the watch and it brings you happiness. I know some of my favorite YouTubers are staunchly against watches like this, and they're staunchly against fashion watches. But I mean, let's keep it positive. No, it's not a Rolex. No, it's not, it's not a Vacheron Constantin. Do they have horological history to them? No. Brand new company, but they do have something that stands out. They were the biggest Kickstarter watch, at the time in the history when they launched this. So people obviously like the design, and it really isn't that expensive. Like, they're not that overpriced. When they started, or some of the full tilt prices on some of their watches, or their automatic one was a little too high. But I mean, with the sales that they have all the time, I mean, I got this for $99. I looked for another true moon phase watch for that price range, and I couldn't find it. So, I mean, maybe that's saying that as well. Maybe they put together the most popular moon phase watch for $99. I mean, please post in the comments below if you can find another moon phase watch in that $99 price range that has, kind of that same style to it. I mean, I'm anxious to see, what they kind of come out with next. They've got some really cool stuff out there, and I mean, some of it's kind of gimmicky, with the stamping on the back. They have one that looked really cool that I kind of want, or want to talk about, called the Cosmo, but it's got an astronaut stamped on the back, like floating in space, like he's been cut loose from the spaceship. I mean, I guess it's okay. The front of the watch is really nice, though. It's a GMT watch too, which is pretty darn cool. It's about $249 US. At that range, it's starting to get in the range of like the Polaris, the Orient Polaris GMT. So it's a tough decision, because that watch is stunning value, and it's an automatic. So I guess it'll remain to be seen. Maybe I can snag it on a really good deal down the road. But these guys put together a really good looking watch that wears really well. It's comfortable. It has a very reliable movement in it. They've got a 10-year warranty behind it. I'm interested to see where it goes for them. And yes, they are a micro brand. Yes, they are brand new. No, they don't have the history. But come on, it's $99. I mean, it's not a lot of money, and it's fun. I mean, it's a fun little design, and I have gotten compliments on it, which is kind of cool. I mean, It's right up there with some of the other ones, other inexpensive watches I have. I have a Casio Databank watch that I got for $32. That's fun, nostalgic from the 1980s, and Back to the Future. It's really cool. So you don't have to be an expensive watch, and you don't necessarily have to have a pedigree for it to be a fun watch. So I definitely recommend checking this watch out while it's still on sale. I think they're still doing their big Black Friday blitz. And I mean, again, it's a attractive looking timepiece for the money. It's a Rolex. It is not a luxury watch. It is not, but it does look luxurious. It does feel well made, and it tells the time. It's a lot of fun. So good job, Filippo Loreti. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you come up with. What do you guys think? I mean, am I off base here? The governing consensus, I think, around this hobby is you don't want to get hosed. You want to get the best value and the most horological bang you can get for your buck. And usually that comes in the form of a Seiko, an Orient, Timex, things like that. That wets the whistle, that really gets you into the hobby, and you do get some horological punch for it. I know TGV over at the Urban Gentry, who's simply amazing, kind of talks about the same thing, but at the same time, keep it positive. If the watch brings you happiness and it doesn't break the bank, feel free to like it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And I've got another couple of reviews coming up I'm really excited about. I got the Timex T80 is coming in, so we're going to be going back to the 1980s. That should be coming in fairly soon, so look forward to that. Take it easy, guys.